Hey everybody, welcome back. We did it 2 weeks in a row, probably. Welcome back to the COWSA podcast, episode 2. I'm joined as usual by my usual co-host, GeneralSound.
Yo, everybody, what's up?
And joining us today is a new face. We're not sure if we're going to keep adding new faces or if we're going to go back to the old faithful. But DarkVagician, or Ghastly as he's now known, not joining us this evening. Instead, we've got Unidentified Squishy.
Well, how's it, gents?
Welcome. Nice to have you here. This gives us a unique opportunity to pick the brain of a team that we don't know much about, Unidentified. So tell us a bit about yourself. Why don't we start with how you got into VS gaming in the first place and took everyone by storm?
All right, so most of us have been playing Overwatch since just after release or from release, and we kind of banded together via old teams. So, for example, I used to play CS with Sponge and with Toxic and with a little bit with Joker, and then Sponge was like friends with Mikulele, and then like Mikulele was like, we started playing more and more together, and Mikulele was like, oh, I have this dude, I know him, he plays Overwatch as well, and it's like Shapeshifter, and we're like, yeah, and this is like Shapeshifter was like a Reaper main, and we're like, oh no, we don't want a Reaper main on our team. No. And then, but you know what, we were like, you know what, then we have 6, then we can actually do it. And then we brought him in, and we were like, yeah, let's do this. And then, naturally, as we play more and more as a 6-man, we like, we switch up a lot, switch a lot of roles up. I used to play a ridiculous amount of Genji, a ridiculous amount of Ana, a ridiculous amount of Zarya, back when it was like, the nano boost, the Reinhardt, meta.
Yeah.
So,
And then it was,
so were you,
yeah.
so were you a team that like climbed the ladder together, or was it you straight up went into VS gaming? That's just what I'm finding out.
No. We played a lot of ladder together for a long time. Just it switched up quite a bit. So it was like it was either like Sponge, me, and Shapey, and then it went from like it was like Sponge, me, Joker, then Sponge, me, Shapey, and then Mikulele got a little bit more into the game as well, and then it just sort of like it was like bits and pieces. But then we found on VSG on the website the one day we were like, people are actually playing Overwatch competitively in South Africa. We should look into that. Maybe we should do it. And then we started scrounging for players, like looking. We couldn't find any players actually. It was very difficult because we didn't even know about the Discord. We didn't know anyone in the community. It was very difficult actually. And then so we created a team actually originally with no name, and it was only Sponge and me for like 3 months. So it was created in I think like either October or September last year. And it was just like 2 or 3 people in that. And then we were like, okay, we have to do this now because next year we're doing the qualifiers. They have that thing at the start of the year, and we just we just pulled in all these players, and you can see, I mean, except for now, we recently added a player, but we've only had 6 this whole time. We only barely scraped 6.
Yeah.
And when you
then we went.
Yeah, sorry, dude. When you started started VS gaming, what was like your average SR as a team? Because I know right now you have like 2 masters players or 3, so I would guess
actually, we actually went up to 4 masters players. 4.
Yeah.
4,
Yeah. That's sick, dude.
Recently, though, we got our guy, his master. He was very happy about it.
And when and when you started, like, what was the average SR of the team? Was it like, where did you?
When we started officially playing as a team,
in VS gaming,
I think it was when we first started playing VS gaming, I think it was just me, Sponge, and Shapeshifter. I think that was
all masters.
That was the 3 of us.
Okay.
Barely scraping master though, because it was difficult because Mikulele was platinum, and so was Toxic, and actually so was Joker. So we had to use our alt accounts a lot. So we get master, and then it was like, oh, we can't play with them anymore. Had to switch accounts. So we were unable to like keep going with that master level. We had to sort of drop down and play with them.
Yes.
But like, that's what.
Been there, done that, eh? Both of us have been in that same scenario.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
And then we entered the league, and then we entered obviously the VSG thing, and we started playing. We played our first game. I can't even remember who it was against, but we just destroyed, and we were like, yeah, we're really good, guys. Yeah, and we keep playing another one. Yeah, we win. We finished top of our pool, easy peasy. We go into the like qualifying thing,
the bracket,
the like kickoff stage. I don't know what you.
The qualifiers, it was a qualifying.
The qualifiers, and that was we got to the knockout stage of the qualifiers.
I remember
Beating
actually.
And then,
Pulse.
Yeah.
and then I think we played 2 CP in the like quarters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually,
And then we 3-0'd 2 CP in those quarters. That was back before they did all their major improvements. And then we hit Pulse in the semifinals. And we went in quite confident, but like, we just didn't know how to 6-man. The whole time we were running on pure individual skill, and it was like, oh my god, it was rough actually. But everyone a bit triggered after the game. We were a bit like, what happened? No one really knew. We didn't like what? How do you play this game? I don't remember. I don't know.
I actually remember watching a cast of the game, like one of the games in the qualifiers, and I was like, wow, this team is actually good. Like I was watching you guys, and I could see some like the individual plays, like especially whoever was playing DPS. I know you were one of the DPS and Sponge, I think.
Sponge
and I could see you guys were just carrying like not taking any away from the team, but I could see you like just with like a duo of DPS that can work together. The tanks usually just fall in, and well, that's what I was seeing. And like you got like Makalele also like insane with his Zenyatta plays as well. I was watching, and I was pretty surprised. And I said this is definitely a Prem team when I saw you guys the first time.
Yeah, no, I did. It was insane. But like it's been really good to see all the improvements. So like, and then obviously we actually got 3-0'd in those semifinals.
Yeah.
And then we went on to our first leg where we finished 5th, having not really done too much. It was just like very bland leg, let's say. I think we actually beat Pulse that game because Leica Luke was MIA. I don't know.
Luke and
what happened.
AFK.
I was casting that game.
Oh yeah, you casted that. Yeah, that was I enjoyed that.
I think it was me and you, Sun.
We both casted.
Yeah, that was an interesting game.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate for them, but it kind of was all downhill after that anyway. So
we finished 5th in that thing, and we got 3-0'd by Boosters, we got 3-0'd by Eden, we got 3-0'd by... No, we went 3-1 to Goliath, I think it was. Back then it was damage control, I believe.
Yeah.
But then now this leg, we went through a lot of change, and we're playing a lot more as a team now. And we actually, now that we've been playing a lot more 6-manning, I mean, we still need to do a lot more than what we currently do. But it was really nice to see us get much better as a team. And we actually went 3-2 to Eden. We went on the last map on Hanamura. Last map, it's 2-2, and then 20 just carried them. And it was a bit like
20 was bodying you.
And then it was...
I remember chatting to someone. It might have been you. It might have been Mick. And he was just like, 20 just massacred us.
It was... that was a... But still, I mean, to go 3-2 to Eden was like, we were pretty excited with that. And then...
Yeah, it should be.
Near the end of the leg, we played Boostios, right? We took the first map on Iconvault very confidently, very, very confidently. Then they took second map very confidently. Then we took the third map very confidently. And then it was 2-1, and then they got the fourth map, I can't remember what it was, and now it's 2-2, and it comes down to Dorado, dude. We were full holding that streets phase right there, and it comes down to overtime, dude. And they just get this, I don't know what happened. We just lost, we got like picked off, and then they just won in overtime on the last thing there to win the match 3-2, and I was like, oh, so close. But it's, I don't know, the improvement's insane though, like, just
I mean, it shows,
honestly,
it really shows just in the results. Eden, best team in the country for a long time, looking super strong, beating Boosters as it turned out. Going 3-2 against them, crazy good. Going 3-2 against Boosters, crazy good.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly are improving.
At the end of the day, it's like, I always say it's experience, this experience alone, like just getting 3-2 against them, you're kind of learning what win conditions is as a team, and what what counters what, like, you know what I mean, and like you start recognizing patterns, you know what I mean, and the more you stick together, you'll just become like gets from strength to strength, you know what I mean. So
yeah.
So going forward, I'm not going to ask you for details if you don't want to give details, but I understand you potentially picking up a few new players, and that's been an issue of yours in the past, as you mentioned earlier, running a 6-man roster for 2 full legs. You kind of left out in the lurch if anyone can't make it to matches and that kind of thing. So You picking up new players? You looking good for next leg?
I don't want to give out any names,
Mhm.
maybe because they don't want to be associated or something. But we are definitely, we've picked up a reserve now who's said they'll play as a reserve because he doesn't want to be in the main roster and have to be super committed. But very good player. Very happy to have that backup now in the thing. And then we're looking at one more player who hopefully will join our ranks as well and then strengthen our core team. It'd be quite nice.
I won't mention any names, but it's a potentially a high value pickup. It's great to hear about Unidentified, which for a long time was, I made this joke before, but for a long time it was exactly that, completely unidentified. You yourself said you weren't involved in the community, nobody knew who you were, and then you first came in the qualifiers, beat DDC, and everyone was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
What's this? What's happening here? So it's really cool to get more of an insight into you guys. But moving on, the moment you've all been waiting for, which I haven't mentioned before, so you haven't been waiting for it. But we're going to look at the awards that you've probably all forgotten about and thought we'd forgotten about as well, but we didn't. So there. But we've got the Leg 2 awards, and we're just going to go through those, talk a little bit about who won what. It should be a good time. Okay, so the first award we've got is the Premier Division's Captain's Nomination. So how this works is for both divisions, each captain gave a nomination for the player they thought was the MVP of a particular of their division.
It didn't include their own players, just
exactly. Couldn't include your own players. So each captain. So you got a lot of overlaps in nominations. Some captains would say the same people, that kind of thing. But then what happens is the community votes on that, decides who of the names the captains have picked, who do they think is the MVP of those players. And that's how we got to these results. So for Prem Division, the winner by, quite a clear margin here. He almost had 50% of the votes, was Centical. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
His prize is a nice word from us. And what more could you ask for? Really.
Yeah. No, Centical was a beast this last leg. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Squishy. About your experience against him.
Yeah, not particularly. I didn't. I'm sometimes not too aware of what's happening in our DGL games, but no, congrats to him, dude. He's been playing really well.
Yeah, he's definitely by far the best warrior in South Africa, in my opinion. I aspire to watching him play all the time. He just gets away with so much. Like he's always high charged. Always pushing behind the Rhine shield and killing the support. And I'm sure Visions can confirm on that because I saw that a lot in the Eden and Boostio's game where he'll pass the Rhine shield and there you see Visions dead. It's like
murder somebody. And he also loves to play that May as well.
Yeah, he's just
a signature pick of his that really can stymie a lot of opponents. We saw it against Pulse, I think.
Yep.
Like on Route 66, like continuously denying them objectives and team.
I think it just adds another dimension to Eden's play, where they can, like, a lot of teams work on like positional errors. He forces at the positional errors with the May, so you'll see everybody just dive onto that target he hauls off, which is like good to see. That's like takes a lot of game sense to play May at that level. So
exactly. So that was the Premier Division MVP from the Captain's nominations. And for First Division, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't remember playing against him. Somebody called GeneralSound, something along those lines.
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy? GeneralSound, do you know anything about GeneralSound?
Nah, I don't know anything about him. No, just kidding.
Let me speak to this point then. He's all right. Moving on. No, I'm kidding, of course. General, also clear victor here, 53%. Let me just mention, for the Prem Division, it was Patches came in second with another strong 27%. So clearly, his Widowmaker, he also plays a great soldier, tracer, actually can flex onto DV, he can flex onto anything, but known for his Widowmaker and clearly making a big impact on the teams in the Premier Division.
Yeah.
But moving back to First Division, Gen, a landslide, 50%. Really strong off-tank player. Obviously, this is weird talking when you write here.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't even know what to comment on that myself.
But I think more than your skill as a player, it comes down for what you've been able to do with Prodigy. And I think the players on Prodigy will attest to this without a shadow of a doubt. A really, really big part of why, if not the biggest part of why their performance was so strong. You know, you come in, let me not say anything. Playing against you guys is difficult. You are extremely coordinated, and you knew exactly how you wanted to run a particular comp, the Brigitte comp specifically in that scenario. You knew exactly how you wanted to run that, and you could see you were well trained on that. And I think a lot of that comes down to what you give that team.
Yeah.
On top of your skill as an off-tank player. So I think from my point of view, very well deserved.
Cool, thanks, man.
Victory, yeah. Squish, you got anything to add to that?
Sadly, I don't watch much First Division, but I mean, I watched your guys' one game, actually, when both you guys were playing against each other. I watched that game, the one that happened recently.
Yeah.
And General was playing really, really well. I saw him on the Roadhog getting a few cheeky hooks.
In the wild. Triggered me. Just a tiny bit triggered. It's healthy.
No, it's always targeting sign. When you had to grab he's my first target all the time.
All I can say is that I got the better of you in King's Row, and I'm just gonna hold on to that.
Yeah. I was trying to hide most of the game. You were on form that game, so that map definitely. You're my MVP on that map, dude.
Thank you. I agree, but I can't say that, so thank you. In second place, Physics, my boy, my main tank player on Phoenix Rising. I thought he was playing well. I think the whole leg and clearly making an impact on others. With 20% of the votes. Really happy to see him up there. I think he deserves it. He's been getting a lot of good feedback from teams he's playing against. You know, his Winston is extremely difficult to deal with in that backline, and his Ryan is no slouch either. So I'm really glad to see him getting that recognition. You know.
Yeah, he was like, I remember on that Kings Row map, I couldn't do anything. It's like you normally finish me off, but he will get that pin on me, and every time I'll come in and then he'll like pin me and then making me useless. And his pins was usually to get me away from my team, which is like. Just shows his game sense, so I think it's well deserved for him coming second. Yeah, definitely.
And then we move on to the most improved players. So this was just something that you could put a name in, whoever you thought was most improved from each of the divisions. And for Premier Division, the most improved player was Mikelele. So Squishy, talk to us about him. Would you agree with that?
No, definitely. No, he definitely deserves that. Because when we first picked him up, he loved playing Zen as a backline flanker who would forget that he's actually a healer. So
I've seen some games of him where he's like doing like a tracer flank, but sometimes it goes off, and then you guys just follow up on that. But like maybe 1 out, like let's say 5 out of 10, you also like lose it. But just shows his confidence on his heroes, which is good to see, and I think that a lot of people saw that in him as well. Definitely.
No, and now he's playing even better now. I'm actually so happy with him. He's definitely he's become from like this gold player we picked him up when he was gold, and now he's just really shining, and he's really learning how to master the hero, and it's really good to see.
Yeah,
I would definitely agree with that. Totally deserved. In second place, we've got Jub of White Rabbit Gaming. In my opinion, like I could not think of a better pick for this particular award in terms of players. Like picking up a new role at the beginning of Leg 1 and just
what did he play
with
before?
his team to get better. He was a support player before.
Oh, okay.
Flex support. I want to say.
Okay.
Kimber was. So you play flex support. So switching on to that, Ryan, not an easy shift to make always, but working together with his team, with DarkVagician at the time, and Visions, I'm sure, had a big hand in coaching him up, making him comfortable on that hero. and it's been just going up and up and up as time goes on, you know.
Yeah.
For first division, most improved player, again another one of my boys, close to my heart, Midnight on that DPS role for Phoenix Rising. Really, really glad to see him get that recognition, because that, for me, he is, again, my pick for most improved, but I'm a bit biased, obviously. But it's nice to see him get recognition for that.
Yeah, he definitely was a huge improvement, especially on the Junkrat. And sometimes the Fara, like I've watched some of your games, and he will, on the Junkrat especially, he'll get some crazy tires, dude. And
yeah.
Yeah.
The hilarious thing is he despises that hero with
Yeah.
passion of 1,000 suns. So we force him to play that hero because we know it can fit into comps, and it really, his improvement is really shown on that hero, and he loves his Genji.
Yeah.
And like you say, his Pharah as well is really, really improving at
Yeah.
a rate of knots as well.
Yeah.
Then in second place, it's a 3-way tie on 5 votes. It's BK7, GeneralSound, again, this dude just gets all the votes here, and Severin as well. So let's not talk about GeneralSound
yeah,
for now.
Definitely not.
Time.
Definitely not. I don't want to.
Let's talk about two very interesting picks, in my opinion, BK7 and Severin.
I can talk about Severin. Severin for me was like when I was signed up with to Prodigy, right? Mm-hmm. I looked at the strengths of the team first, right? And I could see, and I also could see and the weaknesses. The first weaknesses I pointed out was our tank play. And you know, tank play sometimes take a while, especially me coming in as an off tank, to work on. So I tried to build basically a team that could work on to the strengths. And the first person I noticed was Severin. Severin, as in Yatta, was insane. He was like always getting opening picks for us. His calling was also good, like Woozy healing, and his positioning was always like he was always the last one to die in a fight. As a Zenyatta, that's testament to like
it's very unusual.
Yeah, it's very unusual, and you'll get dived, and it also goes. I also have to mention Clumsy Katie into this because she was good at keeping him alive and identifying that he was also strong at like in his positioning. So yeah, that's just credit to him. Like his game sense improved, by the ton, you know what I mean? And I really think he deserves to be up there and mentioned. Yeah, definitely.
I absolutely agree with you. I think all the players on Prodigy, yourself included, deserve to be somewhere on this list. And to be honest, they all are somewhere on this list. Yeah. At various levels. And BK7, for me, a sleeper pick for this one, because he really shone against OG in their first match that we saw of him. He was a standout performer on that map. His performance declined a bit as I think his teams realized, okay, this guy is the real deal. We've got to worry about him. But really, I don't know how much you can say improved when he impressed so much in his first match. But I think at the very least, he deserves recognition for for being an extremely strong point on quite a good team.
Actually. I think it's deserved because Chronic Underdogs last league before this league, they were like really unknown team, you know what I mean? And
exactly,
he was the core with the tank line to make a huge impression in Division 1. So yeah, well deserved.
So then it comes to the most improved teams. Now I take umbrage with this particular category, and I'll explain why in a moment. But it's just like the most improved players. You put down whatever team you think improved the most over the course of Leg 2, or from Leg 1 to Leg 2. And yeah, so for Premier Division, the most improved team is White Rabbit Gaming here. Now, I take umbrage with this because the best team in the country at Leg 1, and then they still, tied for best team in the country at the end of Leg 2. I don't know how you can call that an improvement, but maybe I'm too self-oriented. They got a ton of votes. They got 15 votes out of like 60, in the next highest. So let's talk about White Rabbit Gaming for a bit, and whether you think or how much you think they've improved as a team.
In my opinion, I think it's not much of an improvement, and I'm sure Barnacle will agree with me here. Because they, like at the end, it was a bit of a grind for them for the first and first spot, and you could see it in the games against Unidentified, and who's the other team? GG as well. Eden, sorry, and I know they also got 3-2 against another team, and they had quite a tough game also against 2CP, I believe. And
they got 3-2 against Pulse. That's right.
Yeah.
Their last game, Pulse's last game.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't say like I think it's improvement maybe as they're getting more experience in Prem. So I'll give them that. But yeah, I don't know. I really think for me, Goliath Gaming and 2CP is up there with the most improved teams like they got my vote, definitely.
Yeah. Squish, what do you think about White Rabbit?
I won't lie, my vote did not go to White Rabbit Gaming because no, I feel. I mean, look, from our point of view, I mean, like we went from getting 3-0 to going to 3-2. So I mean, from our side, it was a bit like there was
decline.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see an improvement. I mean, if you look at where they ended and their score lines from leg 1 to leg 2, I mean, fairly similar. And I think actually their stats were probably better in leg 1 than it was in leg 2. So hey, I mean, they're clearly just very popular.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a bit of a democracy at work here. Just vote for your favorite team, even though there's a category for your favorite team. But anyways, but I not to take anything away from them. They probably are improving, but I think other teams are improving at a seriously fast rate.
100%.
And to illustrate my point, in second place and third place respectively, I think we'll talk about them both, are GG and 2CP. GG really, really impressed this leg, beating Eden in a 3-1 matchup towards the end of the leg. Unfortunate situations with substitutes against DDC meant that was actually quite a close match, but I think had they had their full roster, that's another 3-0, like really, DC was always a fourth place team in my head at least.
Yeah.
Behind Pulse, behind Eden and White Rabbit. Now they're showing, look at me, son, don't ignore me. I'm working hard. And it shows with their good results.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the same goal. Like 2CP was also a team that was wasn't expected to stay in Prem this leg, and they were definitely contenders for a team that's going to go back to Division 1, but they proved everybody wrong and showed they're actually a really, really strong team, and Repost and Ash Bros showing that they are a strong tank line as well. And it's the foundations for 2CP, and a lot of credit goes to the work they have put in over the last 2 legs.
Absolutely. Squish, you've had quite close matchups against 2CP, I think, eh?
We had one very close one. We've actually played them 3 times, I believe. And my vote did go towards 2CP, and I think most of my team's votes did also go towards them because we scrimmed against them once, and I mean this was a long time ago, so no offense to anyone, but it was quite the snowball. But then now in this leg when we played them, they took us by complete surprise. Hey, we were not ready for it. They took 2 maps on us, and then luckily we were able to figure out that they were relying on their tanks a lot. But I mean, hell, it was scary, hey? Really,
Shapeshifter really pulled it out for maps 3 to 5, and you guys ended up reverse sweeping them in a very exciting matchup, I think.
Yeah, no, that was scary stuff, eh?
Yeah, that was one of the best games of they goes on top of the games I've watched in Prem. That was one of my favorite games to watch. Yeah, definitely
way up there for sure. So that was for Prem. For First Division, this one was a landslide victory for Prodigy, and I don't think anybody can argue with that. Kind of a middling team towards the end of leg 1 in First Division, but when you joined Gen, this team got leveled up in a crazy way.
When I can comment on that. It's when I I think we remember when I was on Perseus the first leg, we beat them, and they were a team that was shattered. You could see they were tilted. They weren't they were so I remember the one map we played against them. They literally played May and Reinhardt, and the May was like the first dive target for us, and we killed May so quickly. Can't remember who was playing May at the time. And then I moved over to Prodigy afterwards, and I could see like there was definitely like individual skills in the team. Like they had like, you know, some of the players like Ericsson, Severin, Fakey all had really good mechanical skills. You know, they individually were good players, but as a team they just were shattered. They didn't have like direction. They didn't have anybody to lead them, and I think when I got there, then I took that leadership role. They went strength to strength, and yeah, they are definitely now a way stronger team than before I started.
Yeah, like I said, there's no doubt in my mind that this is the most improved team in First Division.
Yeah.
Okay, so quickly running through the community MVP. So we made a ruling here that if you were in the vote for the captain's MVPs, we removed you from the community's MVP votes just to spread the love a bit. And what that this is super awkward. Anyways, what that meant was for Premier Division, our usual co-host DarkVagician, he ended up taking the spot with 6 votes. You know, quite a big victory. So considered by many to be the MVP of a Premier Division.
Yeah.
There you have it. Moving on.
I'm surprised, like you thought, but yeah.
I was surprised. I think Dark was surprised
himself.
Well.
Yeah. I think he's probably the most likable guy in the community.
Oh, I think some people would disagree with you, but
yeah.
I like him, and I won't put words in anybody else's mouth. But who would you guys, you know, talk a little bit about Dark's play and why you think he might get?
I think Dark from me, like my opinion is that when I started playing VS in the VS Gaming League last year, he was a DPS player, and everybody knew him as a Genji, and he was like, I'll tell it straight, and he will agree with me. He was a plat Genji, but he wasn't bad. You know what I mean? He played for a lot of teams, and I remember coming up against him. He was decent Genji. He was like, you know, he could have grown in that position. Yeah. But seeing him get onto Boostios and making this transition to off tank, his SR climbed. He started becoming more of a, you know, more of an intelligent player, and it showed in how well Boostios played as a team. And I think for that reason, it's well deserved, definitely.
So in second place, it was a 3-way tie between Barney and Visions and Senti, but Senti's obviously removed. So, like, the Boostios players getting a ton of love here from the community, which is fair enough.
They're fan favorites, huh?
Yeah, Boostios.
Yeah, you'll see when the fan favorite vote comes if they're fan favorites or not. But in First Division, moving on, again, GeneralSound. But he's not allowed to. It's an arbitrary rule that I decided for this very reason. The MVP of First Division was SunPhoenix. Thank you, guys. You make my heart sing.
Yeah, dude. Like I definitely believe you deserve it. I was surprised that you didn't get picked as captain's nominees. Because that was a big surprise for me. Because for me, most of the time when I did watch you play, when I watch your games, when you get on that hog, you used to carry. Like I always said, you were carrying even against us. I tried to focus more shutting down your hogs than your Zarya, and when your Zarya did become a surprise on King's Row, then I was like, okay, no, I need to like change my focus and focus you more. So you definitely, for me, like up there, you deserve this award way more than I do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I can't comment on anything you just said, but what I can say is that hilariously, Hog has been my worst off tank for a long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of just spent a few months grinding him out a little bit, you know, just playing him whenever I had the time, because I was like, this hero is pretty good. If I could just be not trash on it, I think it could be good. and then I got not trash, and it was working pretty well until we hit you guys.
So I just got good. I think that's the best. Just get good.
Exactly. I used to be bad, and then I got good.
good. Yeah.
In second place, it's like a pretty much. It was actually Ericsson, but it was one more vote than everybody else was nominated.
I think
So-
Ericsson does deserve to be mentioned. He's been grinding for a long time, and he's been in the scene for a while. And with his cousin being explosive, he deserves like some mention. And for me, he's one of the best projectile players in Division 1. It's just been unnoticed because there were so many players performing on Prodigy that made him sit a bit back. But if you watch all the VODs when he's playing Fire, he was basically getting so much space and landing every rocket, and you'll see most of the time in Fire when he's playing Fire. So yeah, definitely he deserves to be mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. He impressed me quite a bit when we played against you, and when we played comp one day. I was impressed with his projectile DPS for sure.
And if somebody else is, yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's move on now to the last couple of awards. So, favorite caster. This is a nice one actually, and I think this season, this leg was huge in terms of the broadcasting that Overwatch got. Casters like Trinoc coming in from out of nowhere, really putting in effort, with statistics, putting in effort to create stories, with teams making themselves available to cast so many games. Guys like Cloudburst obviously stand out on that action caster role, that play-by-play. Really improved crazily fast, and also just making himself available to cast as many games as they could, even though they were only level 1 casters at the start of the league.
Yeah.
By the end of the league, they were casting all the big games, and I think Cloudburst, especially his cast of Eden versus Boostios, was a standout. I know we got a lot of great feedback from them, and as a result, topped the favorite caster vote by quite a significant margin.
Yeah, well done, dude. That definitely well deserved. Like, he was unknown at the beginning of this league, him and Trinoc, and Cloudburst just took the mantle by it just shows that Eden Boost's game was one of the best casted games, done by a new person, somebody totally unknown, and he did really well. So yeah, credit goes to him for grinding out this last leg and showing his availability for most of the games.
Definitely. Squish, did you get to catch any of Cloudburst caster? Someone to look up, perhaps? Someone to look up to, perhaps?
I sadly didn't get to catch. I haven't seen any of his stuff, sadly.
The worst. We're never having you on again.
Yeah, I know. I can talk about the stuff I know pretty well, but the rest,
yeah.
No, I'm really sad I didn't get to catch anything of his. I mean, I saw lots of GeneralSound. I saw some of Dark. I saw Dark stuff. I saw Sun stuff. I saw Trinoc stuff. But
I think I
must have somehow missed Cloud. I mean,
I think it's down to he's casted a lot of Division 1 games at the beginning, and then he only casted about 1 or 2 Prem games, but they were very high, very big Prem games, so
high profile,
and he handled it quite well. So I think that's where everybody got their eyes on him. So yeah, well done, dude. Definitely well deserved.
Let me say this: if you haven't seen him yet, you will see him this league.
Yeah,
definitely. He's level 4 now, straight up, bumped all the way up from 1 to 4. So he's available. I mean, he's eligible to cast Premier Division game at his whim. So he'll be casting a lot of your games, and I'm sure you'll keep your eye on him because his ability to create hype is unrivaled amongst the play-by-play casters at the moment.
Definitely.
I'm keen, dude. I love it when my games get cast.
Exactly. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Then hilariously, because these people only know 2 names. These people, I'm sorry, I love you guys. GeneralSound and DarkVagician tied for second place in favorite casters. So I think we've spoken enough about you guys, but in my opinion, the 2 best analytical casters in the game. Skill backed up by knowledge by game knowledge and backed up by a good ability to express that during casts. My two favorite co-casters as a play-by-play caster, hands down.
Definitely. I suck at play-by-play, so if anybody, I think everybody who voted probably didn't watch any of my play-by-play casts. So I'm happy for that.
And then I have to give a mention to Trinoc, because after that there's quite a big gap. He was in fourth place, very close behind you two, and I think
I honestly voted for Trinoc because I've casted with him. It's just the limelight didn't shine on him so well because the Prem games he did cast was under the high profile games. But the games I think he improved a lot. Like at the beginning it was very he was still getting the grips of how everything works, but like now his production quality is very high. I think his play-by-play is getting a lot better. Just smaller mechanics he needs to work on. Maybe get a good co-caster. Me and him started co-casting, and I did more of the analytical stuff. And he started seeing like understanding the game a bit better. So I think next leg definitely we will see him amongst him and Cloudburst is gonna take the mantle really as best casters out there.
Yeah, we got a couple of new ones in the mix as well. Squish, Spawn, Shireen as well, I believe. So who knows? Maybe there's a contender to Cloudburst's throne. And I believe Scopes and Flares might make a return, rumor has it. So there could be some real high-quality casting coming out of South African Overwatch going forward. Then the final awards. This is the one where you're supposed to vote for your favorite team. It's the favorite team award. And I think we can all guess who won that one by a landslide. 50% of the votes going to White Rabbit Gaming Boosters.
Yeah, fan favorites, definitely. And not much to say. I think they've been having that mantle as fan favorites for a while because we could see in the Discord a lot of people mention them.
Exactly.
And they are
top team, just a lot of things.
Yeah, also a lot of guys on the team that's very communicative. Like Patches, you'll see him in the Discord a lot. Barnacle, DarkVagician, they all play very approachable players, and I think that's a lot of community likes, and they appreciate that. So I wouldn't take that away from them. I also for me, I think I voted for them as well because of that, because they're very approachable people and they're very likable guys. Like I said, definitely.
In second place, the second place team from leg one, I think, not coincidentally, was Energy Eden, and they got second place on favorite team vote. So looks like the community also values high skill and a history of good performance. So those are the two favorite Prem teams. Then in first division, your boy Phoenix Rising, topping that one out with 35% over Prodigy Res. Again, the same names keep popping up, but the two top teams from first division pulling it out. But I have to say, Chronic Underdogs in third is a nice one to see. A new team already picking up a lot of fans within the community.
Definitely, I think also they're credit goes to them because they're a team that also unknown. Nobody knew who they were, and they showed they surprised everybody with the way they played, and I think that's what the community appreciates. So credits to them for grinding with that.
Quite interesting with Chronic. Actually, they have a player called Sponsy who used to play CS with Sponge. Not so much with me, but when he started playing Overwatch, he played Zen, and he came and he played with us a little bit, and he was up there for something I think one of the most improved in first, maybe, or he had at least he was there. He had some votes at least, and I remember him telling me about his team and how they working and they're doing this, and I was like, that's actually so cool,
Yeah, definitely. I remember we played not a ladder, scrimmed them in the first league when they were still a ladder team. And we didn't take it seriously because we thought, this is a ladder team, let's try out new compositions, try out something different. And they actually beat us 2 maps, and we were like, what? Let's bring out the big boys type of situation. And then we started turning things around, but they're really good. They understand Overwatch, which is cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome to see new teams perform on, and like you say, the work they're putting in, Squish, really paying off shows. like I said before, it's a team that was put on our radars and we were scared of. And
Yeah.
they took us to 5 games, but that's not saying much because everybody took us to 5 games. But still, there was they drew us on Hollywood, drew against us on Hollywood. And
Yeah.
you know, that was about as close as a series can be. So we really gave them a lot of respect and still give them a lot of respect for being really strong.
Yeah.
And the community clearly seems to value that. But yeah, guys,
That's it.
That's it. That's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope.
And congratulations to
next
everybody.
week-
I must
Yeah,
admit, yeah,
it's-
like this was pretty cool to
it's-
see. It's first of its kind, the awards. What do you think of the awards, Squishy? Do you think it's good to see that these things are happening in the community?
I think that it's excellent for the community, and I think it's going to improve each leg. Like, I mean, obviously this is the first leg now that the awards are out, but I think every leg onwards, it's just going to be like, you know, you're going to get more responses and you're going to get more serious responses now that people are actually starting to see these kind of results, and it's going to I think it's just going to improve from here on out. I think it's great.
Exactly, and hopefully it pushes teams and players to work even harder because they want to get that recognition that now people are watching them, and if they perform well, people will take note of that. Not that most teams need more reason to try harder, but still, it's more. This is about putting people's names out there, putting teams' names out there, and being like, "Hey, we see you," and the community sees you as well.
100%.
I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Squish, so much.
Pleasure, dude.
Really nice to get some insight from you, a voice that's not often heard, I think, from Unidentified. And join us next week. I think the plan for next week is to run through leg 3 and hopefully talk about a lot of the roster changes that have been happening, because here's some insider info for you. Things are getting shook up in a big way.
Yeah.
Lots of free agents running around, lots of teams that need good players. So both divisions, I think, are going to have big swings in power rankings.
100%.
But
Very exciting leg coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be my first time in Prem in a while, so I'm really looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, me too. Anyways, thanks for joining us, everybody. Squish, Jen, hope you enjoyed yourself, and